God bless. The wizard sat quietly in the cabin of his sailboat, the gentle rocking of the water finally easing the stress of a long day. The world outside seemed restless again. Every time he opened a newsfeed or a video channel, another grand explanation of world events appeared. Some were thoughtful. Some were imaginative. Some were quite extraordinary. Tonight's video featured commentators discussing a sweeping theory that the world was undergoing a massive geopolitical overhaul led by Donald Trump, supposedly aimed at dismantling an old world order tied to British and European banking interests and replacing it with a new sovereign system powered by artificial superintelligence. The wizard listened carefully. Not to believe everything, but to understand what people were thinking. The wizard's rule of information. The wizard had developed a simple rule for studying big claims. 1. Listen. 2. Research. 3. Separate speculation from evidence. So he began analyzing the ideas from the video. The Geopolitical Claims. The video suggested several dramatic operations supposedly reshaping global power. Venezuela. The claim suggested that control of Venezuelan oil was part of a larger strategic move involving global energy markets. In reality, Venezuela has long been a focal point of geopolitical tension due to its vast oil reserves and internal political instability. Countries such as the United States, China, Russia, and European nations all have interests tied to energy access. But global energy policy remains complex and driven by many factors beyond any single leader's strategy. Iran and other claims suggested that global financial institutions manipulate oil prices through geopolitical tension. The wizard knew something important. Oil markets do include risk premiums when conflicts threaten supply routes. However, these price mechanisms involve many actors: traders, insurers, governments, and market forces. The idea that a single coordinated strategy has extracted trillions in profits through a hidden terror premium is a highly speculative interpretation, not established economic consensus. Cuba. The video also predicted dramatic political change in Cuba, suggesting it might become closely aligned with or even incorporated into the United States. The wizard chuckled. That would require constitutional, diplomatic, and international processes far beyond any simple scenario. Still, geopolitical relations between the United States and Cuba have shifted multiple times over the decades. The global reset narrative. The video then described something the wizard had heard many times before. A global financial reset. According to the theory, the world would transition from fiat currencies to asset-backed money supported by natural resources, sovereign wealth funds, blockchain systems, artificial intelligence managing economic flows. The wizard leaned back thoughtfully. Some elements of that idea had real-world parallels. For example, nations do maintain sovereign wealth funds, central banks explore digital currencies, blockchain technology tracks financial transactions, artificial intelligence increasingly assists economic modeling, but the sweeping narrative of a coordinated global reset led by secret alliances remains in proven speculation. The sovereign alliance idea. Another claim suggested that the United States, Russia, and China secretly formed an alliance to dismantle British financial influence. The wizard raised an eyebrow. International relations are rarely that simple. While geopolitical powers occasionally cooperate on specific issues, they also compete vigorously across economic, military, and diplomatic arenas. The world is less like a chessboard controlled by a single grand plan and more like a complex multiplayer strategy game. The wizard's historical perspective. The wizard had studied history long enough to recognize a pattern. Whenever societies go through periods of rapid change, people begin searching for grand hidden explanations. During the printing press revolution, during the Industrial Revolution, during the early Internet era, and now during the AI revolution. People sense transformation but struggle to map its shape. So theories appear. Some contain fragments of truth. Others drift into imagination. Artificial intelligence and the future economy. One part of the video caught the wizard's attention. The claim that artificial intelligence might dramatically reduce the cost of living through automation. That idea was not fantasy. It already affects manufacturing, logistics, medical research, software development, agriculture. In the coming decades, automation could indeed change how economies function. But whether that leads to abundance or disruption depends on policy, governance, and ethics. The wizard's meditation. The wizard closed the laptop. Too much speculation could exhaust the mind. He stepped out onto the deck and looked across the water. The stars were bright tonight. He breathed slowly. The world might indeed be changing. Technology, politics, economics, space exploration, artificial intelligence. But the wizard had learned something simple. The truth rarely arrives wrapped in dramatic internet narratives. It emerges slowly through research, debate, evidence, and time. The real reset. The wizard smiled. Maybe the real reset was not financial, not political, not technological. Maybe it was something deeper. Humanity learning to think critically, cooperate across nations, manage powerful technologies responsibly, pursue peace rather than conflict. The wizard's final thought. He raised his mug of tea toward the night sky. If there is a grand strategy shaping the future, he said quietly, I hope it includes wisdom, because in the wizard's experience, the most powerful force in history had never been hidden conspiracies. It was always the same thing. People learning, growing, and slowly steering civilization towards something better. God bless.